Good morning and welcome. Did you have a wonderful Christmas? Anybody leave any relatives home still in their PJs? Yeah. Oh. We are glad you're with us this morning. I know a lot of people are still out of town, but we're glad that you're in town and you're here today. We're going to start our service a little bit earlier because we have a unique service today. And so we'd like to begin by just taking the opportunity to remember that we come from many different walks of life, many different spiritual traditions, but what brings us here is love and the realization that God is love, and that we recognize and celebrate that love through honoring the divine in all of life and in one another. The way that we've been engaging this call to action this year is right here. Would you join me in this affirmation that says, we are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, and socially responsive. With that, I invite you to join in an opening prayer. We take this opportunity to turn our awareness within and to just remember that we are multi-dimensional beings, beings of heaven and earth, spirit and matter. And there's so much more to each and every person than simply can meet the eye. Today we open to the fullness of our being, and through the activity of life, the same life energy that is continually evolving and growing all of nature. The nature of nature is to change, and so it is with us. Sometimes we see that change very dramatic, and sometimes it's almost so slow and incremental that we don't notice it until time has passed. Well, today we work with this activity of transformation, and we give thanks for the opportunity to create anew, for this time to celebrate together, to bless and to be blessed. We are truly grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. I invite you to stand as you're able and join in an opening song that sort of sets the tone for today's service. It says, I am free, I am unlimited. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited right now. You sound great. I am free, I am invite you to turn and welcome those around you with a holy handshake or a hug. Welcome this morning to Unity. Piece of paper, give them one of those. mind, just turn to one person and say, I was singing to you. I was singing to you. I was singing to you. Thank you. You may be seated. We want to take this opportunity to sing to you and to have you sing and welcome your soul, each and every one of you. I know we have a number of individuals still out of town, and perhaps some of you are visiting still in town. If we have any newcomers here today for the first time, if you simply raise your hand, it will allow us to acknowledge you as a newcomer. So just hold your hand up just a minute. Unity folks, lovingly point where you saw those hands go up. We've got one over here on the front row, Lou. And then Lou, turn around behind you. They can't hear me. You'll have to turn them around. Lou, this way. There you go. She's fine. Front row. This is like Where's Waldo and Finding You. So this. You can have two hearts. They're fighting over you. So if you're with us for the first time, you just received a connections card. If you thought, oh, Lord, I am not raising my hand after that, then you can pick one up after perhaps. But these hearts, you can attach it to your top, your forehead, wherever. We will acknowledge you as a newcomer more easily and extend a warm welcome. Newcomers, you can drop these off. Any of you can stop by our Welcome Center and drop these off. There's a yellow sheet in your bulletin where we're asking you, what's your great idea for 2020? What's something you'd love to help us and to see us experience together? So you can drop any of those things off at the Welcome Center. But we want to take the opportunity to welcome each and every one here today. Also invite you to turn and to wave to our cameras. We want to welcome those that are live streaming with us. We want to send out a special welcome to Unity of the Philippines, who uses our service as their service. And for those that will be participating in a burning bowl ceremony wherever you are and whenever you see this. So to each and every one here today, to those that are joining us from afar, we pause and extend this blessing together that says, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. We're so grateful that you're here today. Also want to give one more sort of shout out. We had lots of poinsettias around here. Most of them have made their way home. But thanks to each and every one of you who purchased one of these in honor, in memory, in celebration of a loved one. If you did and you've not yet taken yours home, today would be the day. So would you show your appreciation again today for those that have blessed our beautiful space with that? Yeah. We also take this opportunity, if our young people, we have a Sunday school program, and some of them are already in the back, but either whatever age, young to the older, we have a youth program. So we want to rub our hands together as Amy and Reverend Gabby and as Barbara Ann get ready to create a wonderful experience for our young people and our youth, our nursery, those that are already in the back. So we rub our hands together, and to each of them we say, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. Have a wonderful Sunday school experience this morning. Rev Christie's going to share some announcements with you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So following this service today, we have our end-of-the-year potluck. So we encourage you to stay, and if you've brought a covered dish to share, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's a way to come together in food and fellowship. So plan to stay after that. And then also,
if you forgot your food, I happen to know somebody's going to pick up 10 pizzas, so I think we'll be covered. So.
Oh, so stay. Join us. We'll celebrate the close of the year together. And then also, we have 3 opportunities to serve on our Board of Trustees, and elections will take place at our annual meeting in February of 2020. And if you are interested in more information about what it means to serve in that level of leadership in our community, I have information packets just outside my office in the lobby. So if you have any questions or have an interest in that, please see me following today's service. And also another announcement that is not up there is it is time next weekend to take all our festive decorations down. So if you would like to join us on Saturday around 10 a.m. to help take this down and pack it away for next year, I would appreciate that help. And you can see me with any questions following today's service. Let me know you'd like to help. That would be awesome. And with that, we are aware.
Thank you, Rev Christie, and thank you for the way that you support our community. We appreciate you. enjoy every Sunday, but today is perhaps one of my favorite because I love ceremony and ritual. And today we take advantage of the calendar, where not only are we, on Tuesday night when the clock rolls past midnight, not only will we end one year and begin a new year, we're ending a larger period of time. We enter a new millennium. And so it's an opportunity for us, or a new decade. A new decade. I was just seeing if you were listening. It's time for a new decade. And it's a real opportunity to think about that. And so today is very participatory. We use the element of fire because fire is known for having two properties. Fire illuminates and fire transforms. Science now knows what spiritual teachers and mystics have taught for many years, and that is everything is energy. And nothing just disappears. It simply changes from one form into another. Fire aids us, aids things in moving from one form into another. And so we harness the energy of fire today, that you'll have an opportunity to participate as we really focus on release and intention, the power of release and power of intention. And so as I guide you through the service today, there will come a point in time you'll have an opportunity to burn this little piece of paper. So I want to make sure you all have the things that you would need if you'd like to participate. When you came in, hopefully you received an envelope and a half sheet of paper. Now inside of the envelope is this little piece of paper. If you are missing any of these, or if you need, we have little pencils to go with the little paper. If you need any of these, just raise your hand and the ushers. So if you raise your hand and just keep your hands up a few minutes, they'll find their way to you and get this to you. But at a point in time in the service, you'll have the opportunity. There's a few hands up, ushers. I don't know where they are right now. Rev Christie, if you would help them. So they'll make their way to you to get those to you. There'll be an opportunity in the service where you'll be able to burn this. Now, it's really important. The first service, I didn't notice, and a few people burned their bigger papers. And then we all noticed because it got really stinky and smelly, and this thing started spitting and spewing and foaming. I didn't know what we were going to have to do. So it'll be really important that you just burn this little one, and I will aid you in getting everything you need to release on this piece of paper. I promise I can show you how. And I'll demonstrate as we get there, but this is called flash paper. It's actually what magicians use. It's made so that as soon as it touches fire, it goes poof, theoretically, and disappears. So it will flash and disappear real quickly, and it doesn't leave the smoke residue. Otherwise, if we all start dropping these in, the fire department will come shortly, and we may get a bath we didn't want or something. So we'll guide you through that. So hopefully you have those. If not, again, just raise your hand, and our ushers will find their way to you. And I want to share, Paul, I'm going to invite you to come forward. We're blessed today. Paula Hankey is usually at Jubilee, but she's an amazing artist who sings a lot in the western North Carolina area, singer-songwriter. But what I love about Paula, most of all, is her beautiful heart and soul. You're going to be blessed with her music throughout the service and this amazing band. So would you show them your love and appreciation now as we get started? My first ministry was in Lawrence, Kansas. And when I facilitated the very first burning bowl ceremony, I was so excited and I loved it so much. But I was more excited 2 years later when I received this letter in the mail. And I've kept it. And every year, this time of year, I pull it out. And it helps me remember the power of what this is about. This gentleman wrote, I attended Unity's burning bowl ceremony with a friend. I had always set New Year's resolutions, but I never considered that what really needed to change was me. I decided to believe I did have the power to let go of a particularly annoying habit, and I held the power to also release a lifelong resentment. When I placed my paper into the fire, I was surprised at the emotional release and the tears that flowed down my cheeks. Today, exactly 2 years later, I'm writing this letter to tell you that I am a changed man. The late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale once wrote, there's a spiritual giant within you, which is always struggling to burst its way out of the prison you have made for it. I never knew I was the author of my life and that God was actually my true nature until I experienced the Burning Bowl service. Thank you for creating the space for the possibility of a new me to rise from the ashes of my former life. That's what today is about. And so I invite you to just begin to relax. We're going to start it on a happy note, a high note. They're all happy notes. But even in the midst of a rainy day, we can sing. I can sing clearly now.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Well, I know you know this one, so feel free to sing along. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Yeah, it's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. Come on now, sing along. I can see clearly now. All the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way now. All of the bad thoughts that had me blind. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Yeah. Say it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. One more time, sing along. Be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Thank you.
Paula Hankey, thank you. Going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. So if today has a question that we would center everything around, it would be to really consider, what does it look like to take ownership of your belongings? What does it look like to take ownership of your belongings? Not simply the outer belongings. What about all of these things inside, our beliefs, our habits of thinking, our habits in our life, our desires, our fears, to take ownership of all of our belongings. It's really to look at our relationship with our stuff. I had a woman tell me one time, she said, I just do not want it to say on my tomb that here lies so-and-so. She had deep issues. That she was always working with her stuff. But to take ownership of our belongings and to look at our relationship with our stuff. To ask ourselves, how is this serving me? How is it serving my highest good? And are these things in my life something I want to carry forward? Or are these things in my life that are time to release, to give thanks, and to let go? That again is the power of fire and for illumination and transformation. Because we don't just throw something away and it disappears. It transforms from one energetic expression into another. And so when we consider these things we consider what it looks like to take ownership of our belonging and to look at our relationship with our stuff. Do we carry it forward, or is it time to release? It's a lot like when we're moving into a new space. How many of you have moved into a new physical location in the past 5 years? Wow, look around. How many of you have moved in a new physical location in the past 10 years? Wow. How many of you have moved more than 3 times in your life? Pretty much everybody. How many of you just love to pack and sort through all your stuff and move? Wow, there are actually a few people that enjoy that. Sadistic you are. That going through, and I've moved a number of times in my life, and sometimes it's a short move. Like, for example, when I first moved to this area, I moved into a townhome until I wanted to get a lay of the land and know exactly where I wanted to be. I wanted to find a house that I would buy, and so sometimes we're in a place and then we just really move. We don't move that far, but have you noticed you still have to go through all your stuff no matter how far you're moving? And then there was a time that I moved from Lawrence, Kansas in 2007 to Maui, Hawaii. Now that really requires a lot of thought and deliberation. More thought than I had ever given a move, because it's very expensive to move from the Midwest all the way across the Pacific to Maui, Hawaii. And so as I began to pack and sort through my stuff, and I said, am I going to go free bird or whole hog? And I kind of went fat bird, somewhere in between. But I, went through so much stuff, and I pared it way down, but it still seemed like a lot when, you have to ship it. And it takes a while, that process, to get there. And so I made sure that I flew to Hawaii, and I gave myself a whole month to get settled, knowing that my shipment was due to arrive 2 or 3 days after I did. So I packed everything I could in my suitcases, my clothes, some personal belongings, and knew when I got to the island I'd pick up a few things. But just as I was about ready to leave, they said, well, there's a problem with your container. Somebody backed out, and so we have to wait now until we can find some more to go in it. So it's going to be delayed probably at least a week. And I said, that's fine. I've given myself a month. Well, it actually took a little longer than that. So when I get to Hawaii, on Maui, the place that I was renting was partially furnished, so I was very grateful to have a bed and a chair and a few things. And so I went to the Goodwill, and it actually felt exciting to buy just 2 plates, 2 cups, 2 spoons, 2 forks, 2 coffee cups, just 1 pot and 1 pan. And so I waited. 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, 4 weeks go by, and I have to start to work. Still no container. But what had happened during that span of a month, in living in a house with mostly sparsely furnished with somebody else's furnishings, few of my things, is there was this incredible freedom and sense of simplicity that had just emerged. I realized that I was being far more creative than I had been. And life was just so simple. And I really had everything I actually needed. And so the day that I came home from work and that container was sitting on the driveway, the first thought that crossed my mind was, I wish they lost it in the ocean. I had become so unburdened and unencumbered that I didn't even want to have to look at it. But the interesting thing is, I thought about it, I thought, I would have guilt if I got rid of some of this stuff. I would have trouble letting it go. But hey, que sera, sera. If it fell in the Pacific Ocean, what are you going to do about it? So I had the opportunity to really look at that. And so as I began to unpack it, I took my time. And I really thought, is this something that I want to have with me in my life? And interestingly enough, of what I even shipped to Hawaii, a fair amount I took to Goodwill and passed on. And probably like many of you, I've had opportunities to do that. I think that when we move from one physical location to another physical location, it taps something deeper within ourselves, knowing that we're constantly entering a new spaciousness. The Buddhists call it a beginner's mind. Every day we begin anew. But the question is, what do I want to carry into this day? What inner baggage do I want to carry? I think that's why at the beginning of this year, 2019, in January, a Japanese young woman in her 30s took American TV viewers by storm. She was known as an organizer, and her popular book turned into a Netflix series called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo. It became a word. A lot of people would say, I'm going to condo that stuff. I'm just going to get rid of it. Because what she would help people do, for example, I watched an episode where Marie comes from the Shinto Japanese religious background. There are two primary things in that spiritual tradition. The first is ritual. The spiritual tradition uses ritual to realize that ritual is about an outer display, going through an outer motion to symbolize an inner commitment. That when we involve the inner and the outer, we're far more likely to follow through. There's power in ritual. The other thing about ritual is it's an outer demonstration of what is already spiritually true. So Shintoism uses ritual, and the other element of it is that it acknowledges that all of life is energy, is spirit. And so it asks us, how do you want to be in relationship with your space? How do you want to be in relationship with your belongings? How do you want to be in relationship with your beliefs? And so this Japanese woman came to America, and on 8 different episodes, she goes into people's houses, and one in particular, she goes into a young couple's house who they just bought. They're in their second little apartment, and they're getting ready to have a baby. They've got stuff everywhere, and they need to get it organized, and they need to make room for a baby. So she comes in, and she's helping, and they screenshot her husband is sitting in the garage. Anybody have a garage that your car won't even fit in? Well, that's what their garage looked like. There was so much stuff. And so this poor young guy is sitting in the middle of it, and he's just staring at a mailbox. It's one of those kind of mailboxes like goes on the side of your house, and he's just holding it and staring at it. And she has thought that he's been in there long enough. He should have made a lot of progress, but he's just sitting there holding this mailbox. Have you ever got so overwhelmed in your life you didn't even know where to start? That's how he was feeling. And so she walked in, and she's this very kind, gentle energy, and she said, is this something you want to keep? And rather than responding, he said, this is my wife and I's first mailbox on our first house. And he said, when we left, I took it with us because my parents were first-generation immigrants, and the thought that I could be in this country and buy a house, they had never been able to do that. And he said, so the mailbox just represents so much more. He said, it's just an old beat-up mailbox, but it's what it represents. And Marie's question always with everything, she says, you hold everything in your life, and you ask yourself, does this spark my joy? And so she asked the man, does this mailbox spark your joy? And he's like, huh? He said, I don't know. There's good feelings. There's all kind of feelings around it. And then she said, just hold the mailbox and ask it, do you need to go forward? Do you want to go forward in my life? Is this something that I want to carry forward in my life? And so the guy kind of bows his head a little bit, and he's saying that to himself. And then he looks up, and his eyes light up, and he says, no. It served a purpose, and I can let it go. And then what Marie always says is to thank it and let it go. And another episode, a young woman going through her clothes had a mound of clothes, and Marie's standing beside her, and she says, now pick up every one and see if it sparks joy. And the lady was like, oh God, and she just threw it down. and Marie almost has a conniption, and she said, no, it's spiritual to have energy. and she said, thank it. And so the woman says, thank you, and then puts it in a pile. But in time, you see these people begin to transform. Would you give me that song? Paula, would you come forward? And so this has application in our life. I believe the reason that her book, that series, became so popular is because people are hungry for order and spaciousness. There's a hunger to be unburdened. We realize that it's like the Buddhist saying where the man wanted to learn, and he went to see the monk, and the monk just kept pouring his cup full. And he said, why are you doing that? And he said, because you don't have any space to learn. This ceremony is about honoring space, the empty. To realize it's unique for all of us, but each and every one of us have some place in our life that there's a belief perhaps that it's time for us to let go. That there's something that we're ready to transform. And so I invite you to just relax and listen to the words of this song.
When my hands were emptied, when my hope was gone, I couldn't help but wonder, what had I done wrong? Even though my heart was broken, there I admit sometimes I do, or consider giving up, 'cause I cannot see the truth. I'll never go without it. Your deep abiding love into my empty hands. Gently you poured new life from me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. Gently you poured new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be, and I cannot help but cry to think of the gifts you've given me. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. Oh, thank you for it. Thank you for my empty hands. Thank you for my empty hands.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So beautiful. So as we prepare, again, to make sure you have all three of these, the little paper, if anyone else has come in and you need any of them, raise your hand. We're getting ready to use, so find the little paper, and then we'll use this later, the envelope and the half sheet. And again, for burning, we only want to use this particular piece of paper. In just a few moments, I'm going to guide you. We'll do a little meditative prayer. And you'll allow it to bubble to the surface of your awareness. I usually do these things at home, either before or after these services. And a few years ago, I was kind of surprised at some of the things that bubbled up. Because what you may see is an image or an idea, and that's the reason this piece of paper works, is some people say, you want me to release stuff? I need several notebooks to burn. Well, this captures one word, one picture, one symbol. You don't have to write the whole story. The psyche knows. Just somehow draw something that will symbolize it, and then you will release it to be transformed. And in that spirit of gratitude. A few years ago when I was doing this and different things were coming up, a picture came up of me doing yoga. And at the time I had never, was not practicing yoga. And it was something I wanted to do, but I had just felt like I was too stiff. I couldn't do that. But while I was doing this practice, I saw that, and so I released the idea. I said, if there's any part of me that feels inflexible, I release it, and I embrace whatever. And I kid you not, a couple of days later, I was driving to the church office, and this chiropractor office had a sign up, and it said offering a new class starting in January for the yoga for the flexibly challenged. And it was like the universe was telling me, don't question. And so I signed up and I took it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So things may come up that seem a little bit weird, but just trust the psyche and trust the heart. And so as we come into this time of meditation, it's about a willingness to have things transformed in your life. So I invite you to hold the little piece of paper and to close your eyes. Ernest Holmes writes, "There can be no problem that cannot be solved unless we assume divine intelligence does not know what it is doing. Unless we infer and say, I don't believe, and then we set another cause into action. But when we call upon the power of God, our higher power, the universe, we're talking about the power that creates everything and gives life to everything. You say all things are possible, you mean that the power which created the planets is now operating in your affairs, is operating in and through everything you do. It's this faith that clears the space and opens the way for new ways of being." So as we close our eyes, we pause just a moment to think about perhaps some of the trees we observed on the way driving in. Some of them appear dead. If someone arrived on our planet and they looked around, they would surely think some trees were dead. But we know they're simply dormant. They've gone within, they're regenerating, they're regrouping, if you will, and preparing for their next level of expression. We tap into that power that is actively making all things new. And we ask, what is it time for me to release for my highest good? What am I ready to release? What is no longer serving my highest good? It may be an idea about something you think you can be or can't be, you can have or can't have. Maybe an old hurt or resentment. What is it? What is no longer serving my highest good? And so ask yourself in your own way, Holy Spirit, show me what is no longer serving my highest good and what is ready to be released and transformed. It's time for me to give thanks and let go. Ask yourself that question several times and just write whatever comes up. I'm willing to release. ask again, what is no longer serving my highest good? What is ready to be transformed, released? It's no longer serving my highest good. Sharon Oxendine to come up. Sharon is an elder in the Lumbee tribe, Native American elder, and she's going to be holding space around this. And Sharon and I will demonstrate, and again, you're only burning the little paper. And so when you drop it and you touch it, just very quickly it goes away pretty much with a flash. Like that. So if for some reason it doesn't appear to burn, I wouldn't put your hand in there. We'll make sure that it all does get burned. And I'm going to ask you to, let's just hold this sacred space together because, you know, different people, we're all at different stages. Some people are being called to release something that breaks the heart. Other people are called to release something that they can't wait to get rid of. And so just know that all of that, we hold the space for it. So when you're ready, we'll invite you to stand, and this will be the exit aisle. So those of you over here, if you'll come down this way and use this bowl, just drop it in and then exit that way. And those of you over here, if you'll line up down this aisle, so we have you coming down the middle aisles and then going back this way. So when you're ready, invite you to, some of you to lead the way. Lay it down, set it free, let my heart rest, I let it be, I lay it down, I set it free, I lay it down on the altar of love. Sing it with us. Lay it down, set it free, let my heart rest. I let it be, I lay it down, I set it free. Walking through the seasons of dark and lonely change, where the world was on my shoulders and my faith was rearranged. Knew I'd never be given more than I could bear, but Spirit reassured me there was an answer to my prayer. Lay it down, set it free, let my heart rest, and let it be. Lay it down, set it free, lay it down on the altar of love. Sing it with us. I lay it down, set it free, oh, set it all free. I let my heart rest. I let it be. I lay it down, lay it on down. I set it free. I lay it down on the altar of love. Every single moment I am left with
with the choice to stay in separation or listen to that voice that beckons me to open and be grateful for every day. It simply reminds me there can be another way. I lay it down, I set it free, let my heart rest. I let it be. I lay it down, lay it on down. I set it free, set it free. I lay it down on the altar of love. Lay it down, I lay it down, lay it on down. I set it free, you gotta set it free. Let my heart rest. Let my heart let it be. I lay it down, I set it free, set it on a free. I lay it down on the altar of love. I was walking through the season of dark and lonely change, where the world was on my shoulders and my faith was rearranged. I knew I'd never be given more than I could bear, but Spirit reassured me there was an answer to my prayer. Lay it down, yeah, set it free. Gotta set it on free. Let my heart rest. I let it be. I lay it down, I set it free, set it on free. I lay it down on the altar of love. Lay it down,
Sing it
lay
out,
it
lay it
down, lay it down. Oh, you gotta lay it on down. Set it on free. My heart is resting now. You gotta let it be. I lay it down, lay it on down. Set it free, set it on free. I lay it down on the altar of love. Oh, we lay it down, lay it down. We set it free. We gotta set it free. Let our hearts rest now. And we let it be. I lay it down, gotta lay it on down. And we set it free, set it on free. We lay it down on the altar of love. Every single moment I am left with the choice to stay in separation or listen to that voice that beckons me to open and be grateful for each day. It simply reminds me there can be another way. Lay it on down, set it free. Let all my heart at rest now. Set it free. Lay it on down, down. Set it free. Set it free. Lay it down on the altar of love. On the altar of love. Lay it down. Lay it down. Set it free. Set it free. Let my heart rest. Oh, set it free.
close your eyes for just a moment. I give thanks for the awareness that the nature of nature is change, is transformation, is always bringing forth a new expression. And so through our intention, we're willing to be willing. Through our intention, we let go, we release things that no longer serve us. Now, we also realize that the next day, perhaps this very day, we will have the opportunity to remember this again. Because it is through our choice, it's through the intention, and we use this ritual to share our intention. And the next step is to anchor it into this reality through our choices. So we ask for the grace and the guidance and the will to be able to make the choices that will manifest this spaciousness in our lives. We give thanks that when we choose to let go, it's like the great recycler of life. If we keep pushing it to the curbside of our psyche, over time, transformation happens. And so we trust the process. We trust the process. And we take steps in a new direction. But we pause for a moment in this spaciousness that we've created. We realize that in the universe, there is no such thing as a void, that it will be filled. And so now we use this power of intention to fill it with the desires of our heart. So I invite you now to take this half sheet of paper as you gently open your eyes, the half sheet of paper and the pen. And this is the place where we ask ourselves, does it spark joy? Now, don't yet start writing, please. Let me just really have your attention a second so you can go there. We can go there together. Gabby Bernstein, in talking about joy, why joy is so important, she said, we have a sacred responsibility to lean toward joy. Joy being that natural impulse of life to display its life energy. We have a sacred responsibility to lean toward joy. The more joyful we are, not happy but joyful, that deep abiding sense of well-being. The more joyful we are, the more light we shine upon the earth, the more power we have to express our presence, the more positive energy flows through us. When we lean toward joy, we raise our vibrational frequency, which gives us the energy necessary to show up and to shine. Joy is the inspiration behind creative solutions. Joy provides us with the generosity to be more of ourself, that we can bring forth more of our higher self, our greater self. When you're in a state of joy, you leave a positive imprint everywhere you go. And so this is where we begin to ask ourselves about our desires and what do we really want? I read about an Orthodox Jewish rabbi from the Boston area that grew up in a kosher family, a very Orthodox Jewish home. But as a little boy, his friend was Christian. And this now Jewish rabbi had fond memories of playing in his little Christian friend's home. And the rabbi's home, they never had pork, never touched it. It wasn't kosher. But in the little Christian boy's home, they fried bacon a lot. And he had always been curious because that bacon smelled so good. And he had been over when they were making hams, and that ham smelled so good. And it kind of haunted this Jewish rabbi. And so, as the story went, he was aging, and he left Boston, and he came down south this past fall on vacation by himself. And he thought, what the heck? And so he's in one of these restaurants, and he ordered just the pork sampler platter, where it had every kind of pork you could imagine. And he said in the middle was this big baked apple, right in the middle. And as he picked up his fork and his knife, and he's just getting ready, he heard, "Rabbi?" And he froze, and he turned, and oh my God, there was a family from his synagogue in Boston. And they looked at him with this like horror look on their face. And he looked back at them and he said, "I know, isn't it disgusting? I ordered an apple, and this is how they serve it in the South." That story because, you know, he talked about how it called him to really own his desires, to own his belongings, to own what was important to him, and to take actions that were in alignment with what he wanted to do. how many times do we curtail what we want to do because of what somebody else may think? Because of some old commitment that may not suit us that well today. Only you can decide that. And so I invite you to take this half sheet of paper, this envelope. In just a moment, again, we're going to have just a short prayer, and then you'll be guided to write. This is about what is joy sparking in your life for 2020? What is joy calling you to bring to life? What is joy calling you to manifest? How is joy inviting you to show up in new ways of being? This is your letter to the universe or letter to God, however you want to see that. It's how is joy calling you into 2020, into a new decade? And when you're through, if you would like to put your address on this envelope and then seal it, we have a basket outside. Nobody looks at it, but we'll hold this. And next year, about Thanksgiving, we're going to mail it to you. And how many of you received one this year? A bunch of you. I know 3 of you shared yours with me because it was so remarkable what you wrote and what had happened in your life. And so, again, you'll put your address on this, and you'll seal it, and we have a basket for you to drop it off if you'd like to do it. So I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. And with your eyes closed, smile. There's something that happens when we smile. It triggers our cells. Just feel your heart. Just imagine every cell in your body smiling. That smile is symbolic for saying yes. I say yes to the life force that flows through me. We stand on a threshold, a brink, an opportunity. The Buddhists, in their wisdom, realize that every moment, every day, we're called to have a beginner's mind. It's what perhaps the psalmist David meant when he said, create in me a clean heart. A clean slate is what he was saying. Let me write anew the script of my life. And so I turn within and I ask this Holy Spirit within my being, how is joy calling me into a new expression of being? How is joy calling me to show up? What is joy asking me to learn, to do, to be? So in your own way, ask and then begin to write. These are the things that you are calling forth and committing to in this new year. Joy is expressing through me as. So as you feel guided, just write whatever comes up for you. take about another minute. If you don't complete it now, no worries. You can stay after. You can even take it home and bring it back. For those of you that are viewing online, if you mail us your letter inside of a letter, we'll hold it and mail it back to you next year. If you choose to have that happen, just seal it in the envelope and put your address. If you move again this year, let us know. We'll put a label on it and have it find its way to you. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude before me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. And I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. And I'm so grateful. 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 So we pause and we give thanks for all that we have been willing and guided to release, committing to continually take the steps will allow that release to become a reality. We also give thanks for how joy, the well-being of our soul, is calling us into a new expression. So we give thanks for this opportunity, for this power of illumination and transformation to be a real activity in our life. And we consciously cooperate. And for this we give thanks, and so it is. I invite you to stand as you're able. Just sing this song. Just pretend like you're at home in your favorite sing-it-along place. And just let her fly. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. turn to one person and just give them that namaste. Namaste. And you may be seated. Give yourself a hand. Nobody started a fire. That transformation is happening here. We want to thank you. Thank you so much for engaging this, and we will support you in it. When those letters come in, we hold them, we pray with them, and then we'll mail them back to you again around Thanksgiving. This is the time in our service where we invite our ushers to come forward. It's the final Sunday. Can you believe this is the final Sunday of 2019? This has been a fast year for me. Has it been a fast year for anybody else? It seems to be, time does seem to be moving faster. So it's where we have the opportunity to pause, to give thanks for the resources that flow through our lives. We also pause in particular today and give thanks for the resources that flow through this spiritual community, the resources that are the people, the resources that's this property, the programs that take place here. And we thank you for the way your stewardship, because it doesn't just arrive in the mail, it comes through all of us. We are the ones that keep this going, and we're truly committed to being a place where any case of mistaken identity is healed. And so I invite you to consider, what is your end of year gift? What do you feel called? How do you feel inspired to give to the spiritual community? And however that shows up for you, we honor that gift. And so as you hold your gift and your capacity to give and receive in your heart, as you hold your gifts of tithe and offering in your hand, would you please join me in this affirmation that says, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. I am now in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. One more beautiful, blessed song. Thank you.
Sun each morning, put my feet on the hardwood floor. I can hear my children laughing down the hall through the bedroom door. Sometimes I sit on my front porch swing, just soaking up the day. And I think to myself, this world is a beautiful place. I've been blessed, and I feel like I found my way. I thank God for all I've been given. At the end of every day, I have been blessed with all the gifts that I deserve. To be here with the ones that love me, to love them so much it hurts. I have been blessed across a crowded room. I know you know what I'm thinking by the way I look at you. And when we're lying in quiet, no words have to be said. I think to myself, this love is a beautiful gift. I have been blessed, and I feel like I found my way. I thank God for all I've been given. At the end of every day, I have been blessed with all the gifts that I deserve. To be here with the ones who love me, to love them so much it hurts. I have been blessed been blessed. Thank you so much.
Paula, Hanky, and our Unity Band, aren't we blessed? Yes, you are a blessing. Thank you. As our ushers come forward, our prayer chaplain, our sacred service representative, every Sunday you can head out through these doors after the service and to the left, and we have a prayer chapel space that our prayer chaplains are available to pray with you as an individual, a couple, a family. And you know, I encourage people, don't wait till it's a "oh Lord help me" prayer. There's also prayers of gratitude and prayers of wow to experience those prayers. So would you please lead us in a prayer today?
In gratitude, we bless the resources that flow through our lives and through our Unity Center, the gift of prayer and our sacred connections, and our capacity to serve and make a difference with our lives. And together we affirm,
the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God enables us. The presence of God abides with us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much. We want to thank you again today, and as we bring this service to a close, two things. Just remember that we're going to have a community potluck, an end-of-year potluck, so a miracle happens right after the service. This gets turned into a dining hall, and if you can move chairs or set up tables, just hang around and they'll show you how to do that. If you forgot or didn't know, no worries. The board has 10 pizzas, so if you'd like a slice of pizza, just stay put and use this opportunity to fellowship with one another this year for those of us that are in town today, so thank you. The second thing is it's the last Sunday in December. Anybody have a birthday in the month of December? Come on up, December birthday babies, and let us bless you and sing to you as you make your way forward. A bunch of December birthdays. Let me hear that again, Richard. Happy birthday to you. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. You are wonderful. Happy birthday to you. Wow, what a beautiful group. Stay right here. All right. Stay right here, December birthdays, and would you please stand and join them as we close in song, and please join us for potluck afterward. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, brothers and sisters are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. In every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment, live each moment. Let there be peace on
Let's do blessed. We'll revive blessed unless there's something you wanted to really do. Let's do it. It's fun. Just I don't know. The whole thing. 1, 2, we're doing blessed again. 1, 2, 3. I get kissed by the sun each morning. I put my feet on the hardwood floor. I get to hear my children laughing down the hall through I sit on my front porch swing, just soaking up the day. And I think to myself, this world is a beautiful place. I have been blessed. I feel like I found my way. I thank God for all I've been given. At the end of every day, I have been blessed to be here with the ones who love deserve, to be here with the ones that love me, to love them so much it hurts. I have been blessed. Across a crowded room, I know you know what I'm thinking by the way I look at you. And when we're lying in quiet with no words to be said, well, I think to myself, this love is a wonderful gift.